Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Richard, and welcome back to another stock market outlook video sponsored by MarketSmith. As always, we're going to run through the major indexes, discuss their trends, what's going on in the current environment. I'll talk about the Megacaps, and finally a few different stocks that I'm watching that could be potential leaders. And at the end of the video, I'll give you my overall take on the market health. So let's go ahead and dive right in. And if you do enjoy my analysis, please go ahead and take the time right now to leave me a like down below. It just takes a few seconds, helps me out immensely. So tap that like button down below. And of course, subscribe if you want to see more videos just like this one every single week. Dive right in. Let's move on first to the NASDAQ composite. Take a look at this chart here. So bringing that up, we popped back above the 50 SMA here, held that 21 EMA, this purple line here. So it wasn't looking good here on this Wednesday. We had a downside reversal after we were short-term extended. The expectation going into these few sessions should have been, we're a little bit stretched in the short term. We might need some consolidation. And we did get that stress test here where we undercut the 50 SMA, fall through to the downside. But the important thing is that after we undercut that 50 SMA, we held it and had a very strong end to the week on a pickup in volume. So constructive price action. It's good to see, a strong end to the week. And we're back above these two moving averages. We remain below a declining 200-day moving average. But we'll have to see whether we can retake that in the coming weeks and months. But we're heading back towards kind of this choppy area, so be aware of that. I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more consolidation than a resumption of a move up. But, it's not just the indexes. We also have to take a look at the individual stocks. And many did see kind of breakout failures, but we do have some leadership holding up, especially in the chip space, which I'll get to later on in the video. So stay tuned for that. But good things here. We're back to that 50 SMA. And back above a rising 21 EMA. So that is the NASDAQ composite. Moving on to the S&P 500, very similar action, negative bar here on this Wednesday, continued move down here, and then a very strong end to the week, ending the week right at the 200-day moving average, as well as pretty much, that downward trend line here that you can draw. And we'll just have to see what happens here. NASDAQ recently is maybe a little bit stronger. But, for the most part, this has been forming much stronger higher lows here. And we'll just have to wait and see what happens at this area of confluence. Once again, we're heading towards this kind of prior chop area. So we'll have to see what happens. And of course, a lot of people are watching this key moving average. So that is the S&P 500. Good to see us back above those key MAs. Moving on to the IWM, the Russell 2000 index. We're above the 200-day moving average. We're once again within this kind of choppy area. This is going to be a big area around 189 or so. And I'd love to see us hold all these moving averages, which are kind of curling up under price. I'd love to see us kind of move up from here, have these kind of expand to the up, basically to the upside, and form a nice strong uptrend. And ideally, we can restart a nice stage 2 uptrend. So we'll have to see what happens, but good to see this back above all the MAs. Looking at IWO, which is kind of the growth area of the Russell 2000, this is also holding up nicely above those moving averages. And it's interesting to see the kind of divergence between the mega caps, which are in the S&P 500 and QQQ, and the smaller caps, because these are already above their 200-day moving average. So maybe we do see a shift in leadership more towards the smaller cap, mid caps versus, the mega caps that have been super strong over the past few years. But nice to see, higher lows forming, potential another one here formed on this Friday, and we're back above those moving averages. These are all basically forming a nice area of confluence. So if we do pull back, consolidate, this would be an area of potential support. And we'll have to see whether we can burst through this spot, which was basically resistance earlier in the week. We were rejected down from it, but now we've got a little bit more of a consolidation, more of that kind of excess worn off. And we'll see if we can make a sustainable move through this area. This was on lower volume on this move today. So that is the IWO. Moving on to the FFTY, still in a longer term downtrend, but potentially forming its first higher low here. And we'll have to see whether it can really sustain itself and get back above that 21 EMA, 50 SMA, as well as that 200-day moving average eventually. Looking at ARC, these aren't the best proxies for growth stocks, but it's good to basically take a look at a wide variety of ETFs, take a look at what's strong, what's not, and that can basically help you narrow down your list of leaders, as we'll basically touch on the SMH in just a second. But nice action here, back through the 50 SMA, and basically at an area of potential resistance just below 40, and that 200-day moving average is still looming above and declining. But bringing up SMH, this is much stronger than most indexes. We're above that 200-day moving average. These two MAs, the 21 EMA and 50 SMA, are in strong uptrends, and basically nice forming a nice higher low here at this moment. Nice higher low previously at that 196 level after making a low here. And this is going to be a key spot around 229 or so, that level. I'd love to see us push through that on volume. We're seeing potential leadership form in this area, as we'll touch on later on in the video with AHR, RMBS, many stocks near 52-week highs, while the indexes and even this are well below it. So definitely an area to watch. Some people may be pointing out a potential inverse head and shoulders. I don't use that pattern too much, but definitely constructive price action over the past few weeks, and especially last week. Nice push on volume, and not just in this ETF, but in individual names as well. So that is basically a run through of some ETFs. And now let's move on to the megacaps, starting with Apple. These kind of control where the indexes are going. They might hold it back a little bit more than the leadership, or they might sustain it. But nice action here, rallying after undercutting this prior level, back above a rising 21 EMA, still has that 50 SMA, which is declining above it. So that'll be a potential area of resistance, as well as this prior level, a little bit of a confluence right near 140. So ideally, this goes sideways, pops back through it, goes sideways, and just starts kind of an uptrend cycle. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. Looking up Tesla, this is a very negative chart here. We're at a basically flattening 21 EMA, which has been kind of resistance, an area of resistance in the past in these two areas. And, constructive action, we've got these nice gaps, which are definitely constructive. It's good to see gaps to the upside, but it has to be able to sustain itself and get back above that 50 SMA, restart that uptrend, form higher highs and higher lows. That's what I'm waiting to see here. And looking at a weekly chart, still just in a downtrend. And, this will be a key spot to watch, this 10-week moving average. Will it be able to, surpass that, or will it be basically rejected down from that in this key name? But nice upside reversal on this week. Constructive action the last 2 weeks as well, following through on that strength. Looking at Google, really nice action, especially today, popping up here. And you can see it's back above the moving averages, except the 200-day moving average, and heading towards kind of this key area, the 100 level. And we'll have to see what happens here. Short-term extended, but really nice action on huge volume. And we'll see if we can start, basically a new uptrend and get back above that 200-day moving average. Microsoft, bringing up that chart, you can see earnings are due in 4 days. And just in general, we're heading into earnings season. Be aware of any stock that you're looking at. When is it supposed to report? Is it before the close or after the close? It's very important to keep track of. But so far, potential higher low forming here as well as here. We're right at that 50 SMA, so I'd love to see us pop through that like Google did and start another move up. Moving on to Netflix, nice action here. This has been, in an uptrend really since it kind of recovered from this initial bad gap down after, a few gaps to the downside. It held it, popped back through that 50 SMA here. There's a Stan Weinstein setup here, 4B minus, and really nice action so far, and just making, new short-term highs. We're right at this prior level, so keep that in mind. If I can draw that state, we're just kind of venturing back into this area, so there could be some sellers up here, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Negative earnings here, down 91%, but the price action was positive, which at the end of the day is really what matters. So that is Netflix. Moving on to Amazon, let's cover that as well. Nice action here, not retaking this pivot, and that 100 level is also going to be key here. But it's back above a rising 50 and 21 EMA, which is a good sign. Lastly, we've got Meta. Nice action over the past few weeks, above a rising 21 EMA, 50 SMA, but still below, excuse me, a declining 200-day moving average. So I'd love to see us push to that level and, form a pivot, form a base, and restart another stage 2 uptrend. So with that, let's run through a few names that I'm watching. First, in the semiconductor space and related, AHR has been a powerhouse since this earnings report. This was at 22. It's now at basically 32. Super strong action right near all-time highs. Actually making all-time highs here. You can see we closed above this level, and you can see the huge reversal bar on this weekly chart. RS rating 99. This is screaming at you that it is leading the indexes. And if you look at the volume here on these weeks, this is definitely one that you should have on your radar and look for a spot to get in here. I was watching this consolidation, but it was a little bit sloppy in here. I was wanting, one more week of sideways action. You don't always get what you want, but eventually it will pull back into the 21 and 50 SMA, and I'll be ready when that happens. But definitely, a great story, great numbers, super strong numbers, and great estimates as well. So definitely a name to have on your radar. In the same space, it's good to see, confirmation here. RMBS also very strong, breaking out of the space, not really giving anything back here. Nice action. You can see on Wednesday when a lot of the market was weak, this was up on volume, then basically an inside day, and now pushing into new highs once again. So definitely nice action from this stock and the group as a whole, as we've covered a few times. CRDO, another name I'm kind of watching. In this type of area here, you basically add a key pivot here, and we'll see if we can push up here in volume. It's straight off the bottom, so I'd love to see a handle form and then push through. Great numbers here as well, although the headquarters is the Cayman Islands, which is definitely something to be aware of. But otherwise, I love the pattern, and the price action is pretty strong, although a little bit whippy. So that is CRDO. Bringing up some medical related, this continues to be an area that's super strong. TMDX, really nice action right near all-time highs. I love to see this tighten a little bit and kind of reconfirm to the upside. That'd be great. Just in general, a lot of biotech reacting strong. MDGL forming a potential power play here. Not for the faint of heart. This type of setup, you just got to go. But definitely a name to watch if you like these type of plays. So overall, biotech continues to act strong. Semiconductors, I think, is really up and coming. TSM as well. China related stocks have been super strong, and this is within that theme, as well as semiconductors. Obviously this is Taiwan, not China specifically, but just in general, KWeb, if we bring up that ETF, you can see it's trending nicely above the 21 EMA, back above the 200 and rising 50. So look for those areas of strength. Look for those spots where you can get into a strong stock that's acting well in a strong group, a strong sector, and hopefully the market gives us that push that allows these stocks to move and make some nice profits for us. So that's pretty much it for this video. Let me know your thoughts on the market down below. Also, let me know, one or two names that you're watching closely that I didn't mention before. Just let me know down below in the comment section. I'd love to see what you guys are looking at. And with that, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your weekend, and take care, and I'll see you guys in future videos. Take care.